hearing the loud shots of the cannon and observed dead and fleeing Maratha warriors all around. But in spite of searching, he could not find the young boy again. While the king was thus conversing with his soldiers, a milkman came rushing. He informed of a young boy wearing blue garments who had stopped the milkman on his way and had eaten all the curd that he was bringing for the king. The boy had a bright smile on his face and identified himself as the king's son. As a proof, the boy had also handed over his bracelet to the milkman, which he had asked to be shown to his father, so that the king could pay him the required money. The milkman added that the boy had claimed to be very tired fighting the Marathas all night and needed something cool to eat. The boy had marks of explosives all over his body, all over his beautiful body. Sri Gopal Singh began shedding tears of joy. He understood who that small boy was. He was none other than his beloved Madana Mohana, who had mercifully responded to the prayers of his devotees and had protected them from grave danger. On opening the temple gate, Sri Madana Mohana was found standing with his blue garments completely drenched in perspiration. The marks of explosives, as if decorated his chanting form, and his bracelet was missing from his right hand. Being entr- being entranced, the king fainted in ecstasy. The Gaudiya treasures of Bengal humbly begs at the feet of Sri Gopal Singh to bestow upon us a tiny drop from the ocean of unflinching faith that he possesses for the Supreme Lord.
Hmm. Thank you, Mataji. So, this is from the glories of Bishnupur temple town of Bengal. Pastimes of Sri Madan Mohan. So we can see that how Krishna comes in devotees' lives when they show unwavering faith and surrender. Um, uh, Premasindhu Prabhu, is my voice breaking still?
No, now it is okay. It was breaking in between, so I thought maybe it is my
Okay.
internet. Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, okay. So let's go back. So Prabhupada gives a definition of full surrender or humility. When you are convinced beyond any doubt that there is nothing in this world, absolutely nothing in this world, not your money, not your family, not your fame, not your gun, not your education, nothing will save you except the mercy of Krishna. When you are convinced like this, then you are humble. Humble because you understand that whatever you have, whatever strength and intelligence you have is insignificant. Whatever connections you have are insignificant. Only Krishna can save me. So then we take full shelter of Krishna. In Ramayana, um, Lord Ram says this verse to Vibhishan. Sakradeva prapanno yastava smiti cha yachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etad vratam mama. It is my vow that if one only once surrenders to me, saying that, my Lord, from this day on I am yours, I will immediately award him courage, and he will remain safe from that time on. So we can surrender to the Lord, and then we can become fearless. And the definition of surrender is this, we have heard before. Anukulya sa sankalpa pratikulya sa varjanam rakshashititi vishwaso gopatritve varnam tatha atmanikshepa kalpanye sadvidha sharnagati. So if we accept anukulya sa sankalpa, we should be accepting everything that is favorable for bhakti. And that is given in Nectar of Instruction 3. What is favorable for bhakti? उत्साह निश्चय धैर्य तत्तत् कर्म प्रवर्तनात् संगा त्याग छतो व्रते सद्भिर भक्ति प्रसीदति. We should be enthusiastic. We should be endeavoring with confidence. We should be patient. We should be following the processes of devotional service. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. We should be not associating with non-devotees, and we should be following in the footsteps of our acharyas. Pratikulya savarjanam. We should be rejecting everything that is not favorable for bhakti, and that's Nectar of Instruction, verse 2. Atyahara priyasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha lolyam cha sadbir bhaktir vinashyati. So we should not be eating more than necessary or should not be collecting more funds than required. We should not be over endeavoring to achieve material things. We should not be doing prajalpa, talking unnecessarily. We should be uh, we should be avoiding niyam agraha, which means following the rules without understanding the without losing the essence. And then we should be avoiding niyam agraha, meaning we should not be acting whimsically but acting according to the shastras. And we should not be associating with the worldly minded people, and we should not be greedy. So these are the things that we should reject. And we should have faith that Krishna is my only protector, Rakshashtiti Vishwaso. And then we should have faith that Krishna is our only maintainer. Krishna would maintain me. So, like we have that pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srivas Pandit. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Srivas Pandit, you have such a big family. Why you're not going anywhere to earn your livelihood? So Srivas Pandit responded by clapping 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, what is this? And Srivas Thakur says, if I clap 3 times and food does not come, I will fast, and then I will tie a water pot to my neck and will drown in the Ganges. So he had such faith that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to maintain him. So hearing this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was amazed and he said, why would you fast, Srivas? Even if goddess Lakshmi becomes poverty stricken, even if she has to beg on the streets, there would be no poverty in your house. So that's an example of Gopatritve Varnam Tatha. Krishna is our only maintainer. And then Atma Nikshepa Karpanye, full surrender of mind, body, and words, and also feeling ourselves humble and meek. So devotees that are fully surrendered to the Lord, they have all the good qualities. They are Sushila Sadhava. They are well behaved, they're saintly people. And Kapila Muni in Canto 3 gives us the definition of who is a sadhu. Titikshava karunika surida sarvadehina majat shatrava shanta sadhava sadhu bhushanam. Who is a sadhu? One who is tolerant, who is merciful, who is friendly to all living entities, who has no enemies, who is peaceful, and who abides by the scriptures. And Krishna, he mentions these qualities of saintly qualities of devotees in multiple places in Bhagavad Gita. There is 12th chapter, 13th chapter, in 16th chapter there is divine and demoniac natures. So in this 12th chapter we have this verse, Advaishta sarva bhutanam maitriya karuna eva cha nirmamo nirankara samadukha sukhashami. A devotee, he is not envious of anyone. He is kind friend of everyone. He does not think himself as a proprietor. He is free from any false ego. And he is equal in both happiness and distress. And he is shami, he is tolerant. And then santushta satatam yogi yatatma drana nishchaya mayarpito mano buddhiryo madbhakta same priya. He is always satisfied. He is self-controlled. And he engages in devotional service with full determination. And his mind and intelligence is always fixed on Krishna. And Krishna says, such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. So here Krishna is revealing to us how we become Krishna's favorite devotee. So I was hearing a nice class by Nitai Sevni Mataji, and I want to say a few points that she mentioned. She was saying that the whole point that we are here in ISKCON, the whole point that we are here in this world trying to do devotional service, the whole goal of our life is to please Krishna. And when you love somebody, when you want to please somebody, then you try to bring in those qualities that that person likes or appreciates. And then you can have a relationship with that person. So in this 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has given us total 36 qualities from verse 13 onwards to verse 20. And these are 8 verses. These are called Bhakta Ashtakam, where Krishna is revealing that what are the qualities that he likes in his devotees. And all through these 8 verses of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna keeps on repeating this line, Yo mad bhakta sa me priya. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me. I like this kind of devotee very much. And we all want to become dear to Krishna. So we can have a small checkbox, write down all these qualities and keep ticking how many of these qualities we already have and how many we are in process of developing, how many we need to work upon. So imagine we are entering the arena of Krishna in Golak Vrindavan, and Krishna, he has laid down all these qualities of must have qualities that we need to have before we enter Golak. So for this, we need to introspect, we need to examine ourselves, how we are behaving, how we are talking with others, how we are handling situations. Sometimes what happens is we are so good at chanting our rounds and doing our sadhana, but we are not concentrating, we're not working on our report card of enviousness, tolerance, humility, being satisfied in all situations. So like that. And Mataji mentioned an interesting point. She said, problem is we never came from Golak Vrindavan to this world because we were not chanting our rounds properly. It's not that Krishna said, oh, you're not chanting your 16 rounds properly, go to the material world. I'm fed up with you. I don't want to see you. So, no, he didn't push us from there because we were not chanting properly. We came out of our own will because we were envious of Krishna. We had material desires to enjoy separately from him. Ichha dvesha samuthena dvandva mohina bharata. So, envy against Krishna, it manifests as envy against others in this material world. I was reading Srimad Bhagavatam in one purport. Prabhupada writes, here in this material world, everyone is envious of someone else. Even in religious life, it is sometimes found that if one devotee has advanced in spiritual activities, other devotees are envious of him. Such envious devotees are not completely freed from the bondage of birth and death. As long as one is not completely free from the cause of birth and death, one cannot enter the Sanatan Dharma or the eternal pastimes of the Lord. One becomes envious because of being influenced by the designations of the body. But the liberated devotee has nothing to do with the body, and therefore he is completely on the transcendental platform. A devotee is never envious of anyone, even his enemy, because the devotee knows that the Lord is his supreme protector. He thinks, what harm can the so-called enemy do? Thus a devotee is confident about his protection. The Lord says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sateva bhajami aham. According to the proportion of one's surrender unto me, I respond accordingly. A devotee must therefore be completely free from envy, especially of other devotees. To envy other devotees is a great offense, a Vaishnava prad. A devotee who constantly engages in hearing and chanting Shravanam Kirtanam is certainly freed from the disease of envy, and thus he becomes eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. So, what does it mean that we are envious of others? I was reading Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj. He was talking about envy amongst Vaishnavas. And when we are envious against Vaishnavas, what are we really doing? So he says, as Vaishnavas, we should keep in mind that envy is comparable to telling another devotee, don't excel spiritually. To a devotee who is singing nice bhajans or spiritual songs in the temple, an envious person is actually saying, do not sing so beautifully for Krishna. When a pujari dresses the deities gorgeously, an envious person sends him the message, don't dress Krishna so sweetly. If we become envious of someone because they cook expertly for the deities, we basically communicate, don't offer Krishna such nice preparations, offer him tasteless food. How can a devotee think in that way? Offer Guru poor quality, offer Sadhu poor quality, offer Krishna poor quality. When we carry an envious mentality into the environment, we support mediocrity. The envious wish upon others, be whimsical and frivolous in your service. The mentality of a real Vaishnava is just the opposite. true devotees always want to see better service being done for Krishna. They constantly examine their own lives to see how they can do more wonderful service for Krishna, and then meditate on how others can also do the same or better. We want to honor bhakti wherever we see it. Let us become exhilarated and enthused to see others with bhakti. We want to become motivated to excel personally, to supersede our own achievements. And instead of envy, we should get inspiration from others, how to please Krishna in a better way. So we need to get rid of this anartha of envy. So some people ask, how do we know we are performing devotional service properly? How do we know that we are chanting properly? The answer is that when anarthas in our heart, lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, attachment, all these anarthas are going down, then we are doing devotional service properly. So we need to evaluate our progress looking at whether we are getting these qualities in us, adveshta sarva bhutana maitriya karuna evacha, or not, whether we are getting these qualities or not. So if we are not getting these qualities, if we still feel anger, envy, pride, lust in our heart, it's not going down but increasing, then that's a problem. Most probably that is because of bad association, offenses that we are committing, and we are doing things that are not favorable for Krishna consciousness, like the Nectar of Instruction verse we read. According to Bhaktivinoda Thakur, these are the 4 categories of offenses that we should be careful to avoid. Seva aprad, offenses in deity service; Nam aprad, offenses to the holy name; Vaishnava aprad, offenses to devotees; and Jana aprad, offenses to other living entities. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a verse that says that if we do not distinguish between the bhakti creeper and other creepers, so we have a bhakti creeper, we have other creepers. These are the creepers of anarthas in us. The sprinkling of water is misused because the other creepers are nourished while the bhakti creeper is curtailed. So if we are keeping the offenses, we are keep on doing the offenses and we are chanting, so then actually it will lead to further increase of these anarthas in us, because chanting is like the sprinkling of water, and we are continuing to doing offenses, the anarthas would rise in our heart. In the purport it says, if one chants the Hare Krishna mantra while committing offenses, these unwanted creepers will grow. If one hears and chants without trying to give up offenses, one becomes materially attached to sense gratification. So to make progress, we need to give up offenses, especially a Vaishnava aprad, which is primarily due to envy. Because this Vaishnava aprad is the greatest offense, because it hurts Krishna.
Mataji,
Yeah,
can I ask a question here,
sure,
please?
sure.
Yeah. Um, I was under the impression that when we do the chanting, it removes all the bad karmas and bad thoughts and stuff from us, right? And relieve us from those. And here it's saying that instead of removing those, it will grow the bad creepers. So I'm confused between these two understandings.
Yes, what this is saying is that when we chant, we should be avoiding offenses. So, for example, offenses to the holy names. There are 10 offenses to the holy names, like blaspheming the devotees is the first one, considering names of demigods to be equal to the name of Krishna, disobeying the orders of spiritual master. So, like these, there are 10 offenses listed in the holy name, and inattentive chanting is also one of the offenses. So if we are parallelly doing offenses and chanting the holy names, actually it's an offense to the holy name. So that would lead us to, as this verse is saying, lead us to the anarthas in our heart would increase and will deviate us to do more sense gratification. And if we continue to do, for example, Vaishnava aprad, we might lose taste of bhakti. So like that, that's what it means, that we should be chanting while avoiding offenses. Prabhuji, does that answer your question? Hare Krishna.
partially, but I'm not fully getting it. I'm sorry, because I thought, the power of the holy names, power of the holy names that we chant, Krishna's name that we chant, the Mahamantra, is supposed to relieve us from all these anarthas that we are we are under. It's all we are under the influence of Maya. So we commit anarthas, and then we say the Mahamantra to get ourselves out of it.
That is true.
But if we are making offenses, we are not perfect. That's why we are telling Mahamantra. If the Mahamantra is not going to relieve us, but also going to put us in a bad track again, then I feel the Mahamantra is working the opposite way, but it cannot be, right?
And Mataji, I have an additional point. Like there were, it was mentioned someplace else. Like a medicine acts same way whether you're a good person or a bad person. So like, yeah, I had the same question. Like, initial stage we are inattentive and we are not able to concentrate properly, and there are many mistakes which are done. So I was hoping like Mahamantra would help us. So, but here it's stated in the opposite way. I have the same question, Mataji.
Actually, Mahamantra does help, but you become more aware of your anarthas when you chant Hare Krishna. Then you can. That is what you see that you have all these desires which are not. So at that point, you are supposed to remove those the whatever those other extraneous desires you have. You are supposed to not keep doing it, because with devotional, when you do devotional service, it can bring you name and fame, it can bring you other things, and if you think that this is actually the result of devotional service, and if you delight in those things, then your creeper, the actual bhakti, so you have to distinguish, because with devotional service comes other things also, like you can get lot of name and fame, you can get riches, and you can become proud and things like that Krishna can give, but and then you can make offenses also. So so in that way, but if you keep chanting, Krishna will also give you the understanding, that yes, these are this is not actually the bhakti, it is actually I'm getting these benefits. So there is a verse like that, dharmasya hi apavargasya nartho arthaya upakalpate narthasya dharmai kantasya kamo labhai smitaha. That when you do dharma, you may get other things, because, but you should not get carried away by the other things. So those are considered like, weeds. So you may get it and you may have it, but you should know it is Krishna, it is coming from Krishna. I may get name and fame and things like that, but I should not feel like I'm superior to everybody else and then commit offenses to others. So that's how I also.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I add a comment?
Yeah, but Prabhuji, but still, I don't understand, why it says it'll water the other creepers.
Yeah, Prabhuji, can I add a comment on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this verse is saying like creepers and other Bhakti Lata Bij, right? So what it says is when we melt the butter, all the impurities comes up, right? So in the same way, when we connect to Krishna, the Bhakti Lata Bij comes, like the creeper, the virginal Bhakti comes. And in the agriculture also, we have the weeds. So simultaneously, we don't expect the weeds comes in the farm, but thing is our motto is to generate the crop, but simultaneously by watering that one, the weeds also comes in the land. So we take a process to pluck out the weeds and give the strength to main tree. So if we don't do that one, definitely the weeds takes the nurturing of the soil, and they nourish so much instead of the main crop. So that's why there is a process like to weed plucking, right, in the agriculture. In the same way, in our bhakti also, when we connect to the Krishna, when we start whatever way we are doing the process of that one, the impurities rises. How the butter but melting the butter rises, all the impurities. We have a lot of impurities in our heart from millions of births. That's why we are here. So those impurities, how can we identify ourselves? If someone comes says you are doing this one wrong, it's not very easy way to accept like what I did wrong. It takes some time. Why our, if definitely immediately it will come, why you are pointing me, I am not wrong, like that it will come. So to accept that one from our bottom of our heart, as we have the impurities, that is the first stage of working of the holy name. So when we are identifying the impurities in our heart, like which is not kind of helping to our bhakti, that is the progress actually, because we are in the progress, that is a positive thing. We are identifying the bad quality in us, and at the same time the weeds this verse is speaking is, those are the bad qualities which we have. When we identify the weeds which are not good for our bhakti, we need to pluck it out. So how can we pluck it out? That is also comes in the true devotional service. That's where this Mataji said, like Bhakti Ashtakam in the 12th chapter. Those are the qualities one we need to acquire. But to acquire that one, these impurities or weeds are making like to so much of nourishment, and they are taking positive of all our energies. We need to pluck that one. So identifying that weeds itself is a process in bhakti. So that's why like we identify through the scriptures, listening from the devotees, we identify, okay, I have this kind of bad quality, and that's why we, and see, some impurities we need to work explicitly, some impurities it go without our consciousness only. We have seen lot of in our experiences, without our consciousness we can say after chanting for some time, lot of impurities gone off, like anger, it is whatever it's there unconsciously. But some things we need to work explicitly. That is the daily sadhana, we need to pray for that one, we need to put external efforts, because those are very strongly deeply rooted in our heart. So that's why we need to do the sadhana very seriously. And whatever Mataji is giving the chanting moods in whole class, those are going to help us to pluck the weeds. So in that process, as this verse is saying, the impurities it comes up, it makes us clarity. By working those external strong impurities, removing hardly, definitely one day we will become like a pure ghee in our bhakti. So those impurities also will go off. So it works like both ways. Identifying impurities is also positive progress in bhakti, and at the same time, unconsciously going bad habits also it's a positive sign for bhakti. So that's where here this verse is saying we need to identify both weeds and bhakti. When one will identify, then only we can work on that impurities. Sorry, Prabhuji, long answer.
It's like I can say one thing that when you have not cleaned a room for a long time, the dust is there but you can't see it. Now you start cleaning the room, then you see the dust, right? I mean, you see the dust. You can say the dust is being seen because I'm cleaning the room. Yes, that is correct, because without cleaning you would not see that dust which has settled. So in one sense, when you chant Hare Krishna, it is when all the impurities become visible. So that is also, it was there already. It is not that, of course, you could say because of chanting, I can identify, I can see those impurities, or because of cleaning, I can see those dust. If I didn't clean, then the dust was there, but I was not seeing it. So when you chant, actually it churns the heart, and when you churn the heart, then all the impurities, also come to the surface, and that is what is like. Now you can say, okay, well, because I chanted, now I'm seeing those impurities. Yes, but if you didn't chant, then what will happen? Those impurities were embedded in your heart, and you were not even able to recognize them. So now those weeds are away. Just like when you water, that is what caused the weeds, right? I mean, if you didn't water, if there was no seed sown, you didn't water, there would be no weed. But it is there inside. It is in the ground. So in the same way, in the heart, it is impurity is buried. But now you can see it with the chanting. It is not that the chanting has caused the weed to grow. It was there, it is just manifesting. And another thing is when you chant, then also you get, many opulences, because it is said when you chant, even offensively you chant, you can get bhukti. Bhukti means material enjoyment. You can get, your desires can be, material desires can be, fulfilled. And you feel like you can get carried away by those. So in that way also with devotional service comes Like we have verse by Bilva Mangal Thakur that uh, dharma artha kama gataya samaya pratiksha, that all when you engage in bhakti, then all the others are there ready to serve you. Dharma, artha, economic development, kama, sense gratification. So you can get opportunities for all these things. And that is where the danger is. If you don't realize those things, yeah, this is coming, but I should engage it in Krishna's service. So, okay, that's all we can say. You can.
Prabhuji, just one question, Prabhuji. Like when Mataji was reading the verse, the way I understood it was, yeah, we're seeing all the anarthas initially when we're doing chanting and everything. But if you're doing, if you're still continuing with the inattentive chanting, it will lead to more anarthas. Uh, that's what Mataji read in the verse. So that's where the question arises, Prabhuji. So initially we chanted and we are not able to make that progress towards attentive chanting. So will that lead to more anarthas?
It's like, okay, yeah, you have grown a beard, and if you shave it nicely, then it will have you have a clean face. But if you shave it improperly, then you can get a cut. But should you shave or should you not shave? The question is, yes, you should shave, but you should shave it like with properly, because it's a so devotional service is like that. It doesn't mean that because it is like a very I can get into more trouble. I can make Vaishnava aparadh. So I should not even do devotional service. That is not the idea. The idea is you take up devotional service and do it properly. And of course, Krishna will help. Or you can say, no, I because all these offenses are there, I will not even chant because I'm I'm afraid that if I start chanting, I will start chanting offensively. I will not pay attention, and that will create more problem than if I don't chant. But that the solution is that we should chant and we should try to chant. Of course, on our own, it is described that we cannot overcome this anartha of distraction. We need help. So we have to chant in a mood of prayer. And we have to, as long as we are endeavoring to give up the offenses, we are trying, then Krishna is seeing. He's not just seeing that, okay, you are making offenses and that's, as we are trying to give up, he knows also we are impure. So, but we should not think that, oh, if I take up devotional service, then I will make offenses and that's why I should not take up, I should not do chanting. No, that logic can work like that also, right? Somebody may think like that. So, isn't it? I don't know. What do you say?
Yeah,
Uh,
Prabhuji, but
like,
little bit concerned that inattentive chanting will also lead to more anarthas is where that is a little bit concerning, Prabhu.
Yeah, it is said like that. Inattentive chanting will lead to. So the thing is not that you don't chant, you chant, but you try to chant with attention. So yeah, Sugandha.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I just add one point? Everybody said very nicely, and I think the best thing is devotees are paying very very focused attention. That's a great thing. So when we actually take prasadam, actually, which is a nutrition feeds the parasites also in the body. At the same time, it nourishes the body. So it is exactly same analogy. If I give another example, is what Prabhuji already said. Is suppose you have a glass filled of water with a dirt also, but the glass water is not stirred up or shaken. So somebody, a child looking at it, say, "Oh, this is a pure water from the top." Yes, that is also true. But but in a glass which is half full, you start adding the pure water. Though that pure water is pure, still it is mixing with the contamination which was pre-existing in that glass. Now the duty is you start continue to pour that pure water into the same glass, there will be time which will be very few dirt or practically no dirt, and you will be left with the pure water. That is the whole process. Actually, I make this as a workshop experiment, and we can see that within 5 minutes, the dirt is completely gone or practically gone. uh, but that irsha is the one which will be very difficult to take out. That's why we have ultra fine and RO water and this and that. Well, the life is also like that. So basically the point is chanting is a nourishment. It's a kripa which is coming. Kripa was misused by Hiranyakashipu. Kripa was misused by Ravana. Not to become that, but yes, kripa has that power. How one can divert that into direction. I hope I made a point.
Okay.
So, Prabhuji, if I'm still trying to understand. I'm sorry. So, is it mean that these anarthas that we are creating, is it seen as a free will that is also expounded by taking, Krishna's holy name and telling the Maha Mantra, and it is a choice, but by not trying to eliminate, I think it resonated with me, with this parasite, and also, we water the plants, everything grows. But what I'm trying to understand is Mahamantra is eliminating, but the person is not eliminating through free will. Is that the real problem here? Because I firmly believe the Mahamantra will deliver us by getting us out of this misery we have put ourselves into.
But time is the biggest illusion, and to comprehend that accumulation is beyond the purview of even Jyotish Shastra. And that's why Krishna Bhagavan says in the Bhagavad Gita that this is guhya. And actually, I think previously when I spoke, these are vrittis which are very difficult to, they are very subtle. It is very difficult to first of all distinguish that these are your enemy number one, but we feel that they are our best friend. Like somebody who is getting krodha is the enemy number one to end and begin with. But when people have vritti, certain situations, certain things happen in the middle of the arti also, people will get angry. These are all called vrittis. uh, some child is step over something, but okay, things happen. So I don't know how. So another thing is this limited intelligence has a limited capacity. With limited capacity, we try to comprehend the unlimited. That is the struggle which is going on. So I don't understand doesn't mean it is wrong. If I don't understand, that is my limitation that I am not understanding. That is humility, a true, honest humility. If I don't understand, that's why I will act. That's where this vritti will start ruling, and it will take you in the wrong direction. What Prabhu mentioned, the boat without direction. So I guess uh, so. If bhakti is a very simple thing, just chant. Uh, Srila Prabhupada also gives another example that iron rod in the association of fire, if you don't, and then after just a matter of time, it acquires the quality of fire. If you don't believe it, touch it. You will never touch it next time. So Harinam is like that fire. Yes, our accumulation is unknown to all of us. Since I am saying that, I am first into that. So, but that faith, uh, instead of faith, actually, we can take it towards understanding, and that's what this process is. And as a virtual family, we are trying to help each other, uh, trying to lift each other, and collectively grow together. So but again, there is a nice saying also that if somebody and the principle of relativity, which is very complicated in terms of physics, the many thousands of people tried understanding that, but very few can understand. But if somebody determined that I am not going to understand the principle of relativity, what is the hope that that person will ever? Never. So, so I guess it's always Krishna Bhagwan always talk about two things at the same time. So that's why he also says that if you try to catch either of the extreme, you could be perplexed. So, so yeah, let the process work. Keep pouring the pure water. Your glass will become clean, uh, because we have seen that. Uh, Nobody has died in my family, but I have seen others died. So death is certain. So these are the evidences. Like if I don't understand, doesn't mean theory of relativity is wrong. I hope. Are we going in a right direction?
Okay, so basically, if you keep chanting and endeavor to give up the offenses, then it will come to the stage of clearing stage, you know. So that is the idea that you, even if it is offensive, keep chanting. Don't stop chanting, because generally we are chanting offensively. Otherwise, we would have gotten Krishna prem. Everybody who doesn't have, if in the Bhagavatam it says, if you're chanting and you're not feeling these ecstatic symptoms, then your heart is like steel. You know, it means you're not, offenses are not gone yet. So we are all chanting offensively. Of course, that I can say not all, but I am telling about myself. Otherwise, you know, we would be floating in Krishna Prem. But what is the remedy? The remedy is also chanting and to give up the offenses. So, and we have to pray. We cannot do it on our own. Haridas Thakur says this anartha of inattention cannot be given up on one's own. We have to seek Krishna's help. So,
So,
so
Prabhuji, can I just make one line?
mm,
So, I think by chanting, definitely our papa goes away. So that's why we acquire more pious activities, like not punya karma, but in terms of bhakti, that akama, and with that we are able to progress in our bhakti, because Krishna says right in Bhagavad Gita that whoever sinful reaction has not been fulfilled, I mean, is not being eradicated, he cannot do my devotional service with determination. So that goes. When we chant, definitely our papa reduces. So that's why we get that taste in chanting. Even though we do offensive, that's how everybody starts, I think, because our mind wanders here and there, but still we need to keep practicing. So Prabhupada says that if you Prabhupada says, what is Maya? So Maya is something which takes you away from Krishna. It will drag you away from Krishna. So if Maya attack, then what you do? You chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Like you chant more loudly. So that's where we are able to, get closer to Krishna.
thank you. Okay, so we can go on. Like,
Yes, thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts. So, as Premasindu Prabhu said, that bhakti, it has two fingers. There is Krishna's mercy in the form of the holy name, and then we need to put our endeavor. Every moment is a test by Krishna. How are we taking steps towards him, or are we taking it away from him? It's our free will, as one of the Prabhuji said. We still have free will. How do we choose to react to things? If we do criticism of a devotee, hurt a devotee, then that's Vaishnava Pradhan. That's the most offensive one. There's a verse, Bahu Janma Kare Yadi Shravana Kirtana, Tabuta Napai Krishna Premadhana. If one is infested with 10 offenses to chanting, he may endeavor to chant for many, many births, but he will not get love of Godhead, which is the ultimate goal that we are trying to achieve, to get love for Krishna. So, as we were talking about envy towards others, especially devotees, we should not be hurting a devotee, because when we hurt a devotee,